Hey, it is your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're zooming in and focusing in on what I feel is a very important topic, and that is understanding the anger. And then furthermore, the resentment that comes as a result of narcissistic relationships. Anger can come from a very negative and powerful feeling that oftentimes creates ruminations or repeated thoughts. Ruminations meaning that they're really not productive. They just seem to roll over in the mind. A lot of psychologists call this the monkey brain. It just goes on and on and on. Chatter, 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 upset, upset, upset. This is also known as rumination or repeated sort of negative, obsessive, and compulsive thoughts. You don't have to be diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder to have ruminations. And this is really kind of the mind trying to work through these negative, self-invalidating feelings, thoughts, emotions, which then lead to a temperament, which then over time, if they're not corrected, if they're not dealt with positively and productively, then this can become really more of a personal reality for you. So a really sort of angry personality or an angry identity, personality which is then permeated through a lot of anger, a lot of outbursts, a lot of unpredictability, uncertainty, and unhappiness. And we see a lot of problematic, and then, interpersonal relationship, in other words, relationship with yourself, which is negative, but furthermore, relationship with others, which are tinged with this negativity. And so I really want to zoom in and focus in on understanding the anger of narcissistic relationships. And now, a lot of this, I feel that it emanates from oftentimes a feeling of defeat. Feeling like you are just defeated, like you cannot win. No matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, do, feel, or plan, the most important thing is plan, you really don't seem to get what you want. And that is sort of an approval, an acceptance, a sort of coming of leveling and understanding of equal terms with this person. And oftentimes the narcissist, the sociopath or psychopath, they are controlling individuals. In other words, they are super charming, they are super quote unquote giving, and it's going to be a one-track relationship, which means they are going to be the ones, calling the shots, drawing the rules, drawing the lines, or really, calling negative shots, false shots, like in a basketball game or a football game where you see, a referee that's made a call and a lot of people are getting boos. So in other words, it's not real. So oftentimes the narcissist, psychopath, or sociopath, they will try to call the shots, but they're not always accurate shots. They will engage in a lot of boundary violation, which means overwhelming you with their anger, not with their anger, but oftentimes with their hostility, but their needs for approval, validation, attention, and they are always having to be right. And so this can result in oftentimes a feeling like, well, I am quote unquote wrong because of this negative call, the way that it's so one-directed, it creates this feeling of defeat. I'm always wrong. I can't win. And then furthermore, what's so insidious is that the people who are around these people long enough will then begin to internalize these negative, erroneous messages, which means I am wrong. I cannot win. I am less than. I am worse. I can't for myself. And then so this negative self-belief, this negative self-doubt really takes hold. It really takes root in the person. And it takes root in their feelings, their emotions, their behavior. And then over time, this becomes a sort of doubting temperament, which can then result in like complex PTSD, where a person, is so deluged by these negative feelings, these negative thoughts, and then this defeat, which then kind of creates this fear and terror as an aftermath with them. But then, that can, if that is not corrected, not dealt with, oftentimes through intervention or professional help or understanding what has gone on, sort of getting it out, it can become a very sort of stifled and negative personality, or post-traumatic stress syndrome, or feeling like you can't, believe in yourself, you don't believe in life, you don't have faith anymore in greater things, greater purposes, and or even knowing your purpose if this has occurred, early in your life, or midlife and you're having a midlife crisis. So it can oftentimes, oftentimes this is because the individual, we find in narcissists, try so hard to then please them, to get the smile, to get the pat on the back, to get the handshake, to get the deal, whatever it is that you are trying for in the relationship. It does not always go as planned, and no matter how hard you try, plan, and sort of, get up, get a lot of your own emotional energy caught up in this, trying to please them. So everything from, the energy that you take to plan or prepare, getting ready to get ready for them, whether it's physically getting ready, getting dressed, getting your hair done, getting your makeup done, your nails, the food preparation, the gifts, maybe, making, the house, cleaning the house, building a house, getting a car. I mean, we have all different levels with which you might have tried to please this person. And, depending on, how deep you are, I mean, it can be quite extensive. The gift giving, can be, from very small to the very large. Planning a lot of meals that then they don't want, buying gifts that they don't want, building houses that they don't want, buying boats that they don't want, cars, jewelry, etc. You might feel a real feeling of defeat. And this is, very much becomes like not only a sore loser, but like then because of the boundary violation, you then have sort of a self-regret, or, a lack of forgiveness or self-love. And you kind of feel left with the garbage. You feel left with the aftermath. You have a littering of all that you have done, pictures, texts, gifts, etc., which, then surrounds you and becomes you feeling worthless. So as I recommend, it's always important to kind of get rid of these remnants if they are kind of keeping you stuck and reminding you, priming you of what didn't work, the fact that this person is the way that they are, the negative feelings, the negative looks that can be, cold as ice, the looks that kill, the looks that, the looks that defeat. It can be very, very severe in a psychopath individual, where they will use these looks, instead of communication. It's very insidious, and it's very sick to watch, and it's very sick to hear about, because it is so devastating, and people keep people held hostage really through this hurt. It's very, very awful, and really the ramifications are quite profound and lethal. And so, and I think really, and as I was kind of reviewing here for content here today and for the book that I'm writing, it's oftentimes because there's a lot of caregiving of this person. And so, your efforts for caregiving have kind of been, it's kind of like throwing your pearls at swine, so to speak. In other words, the pearls have value, but they just eat it up and they just destroy it. So all the positive energy that you have tried to share is not validated. And, there is, purely you have to do a pullback. And what I would really recommend is then, if you've been through this, is just to, with the anger, is just to give them their space, to stop the, to stop the giving and contributing to this negative person who you feel so angry about. I mean, give them their space and begin to give yourself your space, and begin to get back to the drawing board, starting again and saying, okay, this was a mess, this did not work out. We have a lot of narcissistic self-absorption in this person, a lot of control in this person, and they get that by boundary violation. And unbeknownst to me, I was involved in this, and I thought this was in the name of love, and I thought that this is what they wanted, and then I lost perspective and continued and allowed this boundary violation because I had never encountered this sort of manipulative relationship. So now I'm pulling back, I'm giving this person their space and I'm letting them go. I'm giving myself my space and I'm filling it with things of value, things that are meaningful to me. And I'm now going to give to myself rather than give to this person. And if you can do that, then you will allow yourself to rekindle your faith once again. And don't look for a sort of meeting in the middle of terms with this person. You know, your anger will subside once you realize that, you know, this person is pathological and will continue to be pathological, and you do not perhaps want that pathology to proliferate or grow in your life, because it just continues and it will just really furthermore make a lot of people who have been used as supply miserable in their life unless they've taken an oath of unhappiness really just to stay with them and stay unhappy. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.